Welcome to Justbykass. I'm Cass, and today's video is going to be about the importance of genetic and heredity. And is it even possible to pass it down? PCOS, is that even possible? Stay tuned to find out. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you can get more content just like this. So the first question is, can PCOS be passed down? You gotta really sit on that and think about it. Can PCOS be passed down? Yes, it's a possibility. So let's dig into that. It's a possibility, but why is it a possibility? So the risk of getting PCOS is higher if someone in your family has it. Someone like your mother, your sister, your aunt. If someone like that in your family has it, the potential, like, you get a higher chance of getting it versus someone in a family that doesn't have PCOS. So your chances are increased. But just because your chances are increased does not mean that just because someone in your family has PCOS that you will have it. Or just because your parent has it doesn't mean you will have it. Or just because you have it doesn't mean you will pass it down. It's by chance, and your chances are increased if someone in your family has it, but that doesn't necessarily link it to 100% going to happen. It's more of a maybe it'll happen. Your chances are slightly higher, and that's kind of how it is. Is PCOS hereditary? Let's think about that one too. Is it hereditary? Yes, it's proven to be a familial condition. So what that means is, just like in the other one, if someone in your family has it, you're more than likely going to get it. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you will get it. It just means that maybe because your mom have it, you will have it. Because there's a direct link, and your chances of having it is higher than someone who is in a family that doesn't have PCOS. So those are things to think about, but doesn't necessarily mean just because you have it, you will pass it down and stuff like that. Does PCOS run in families? So, this is like asking the same question in a multitude of different ways. Yes, I am asking you the same question in a multitude of different ways to make sure that it's answered, things are out there, the possibility of, basically, does it run in your family? Is it genetics? Is it hereditary? Like, the possibility is that your chances are increased just a little bit. So, does it run in your family? Yes and no. But according to what we just said, your chances are increased. So that leans more to, yes, it could run in your family. Like, your aunt can have it, you can have it. Maybe your daughter won't have it, but maybe your granddaughter will have it. It's not something that's like, just because you have it, you'll pass it down immediately. But because you have it or someone in your family has it, then the chances are it could be passed down the line to someone else in your family. So, yeah. So another question is PCOS developed, or are you born with it? Are you born with it? So, I don't think you are born with it. I do think that is something that, is not developed either, I guess. Let me read out a little something I wrote. Is PCOS developed, or are you born with it? Most people find out that they have PCOS between the ages of 20 to 30. And they find out when they're basically having trouble getting pregnant. Maybe symptoms weren't really showing up or noticeable or any of that case. Maybe they seem normal and everything seemed perfectly fine until they tried to have a baby, and then they started realizing that they have some problems. PCOS can happen at any age after puberty. So you can literally get your period and immediately after get diagnosed or have symptoms of PCOS, or it can happen, later on in life, depending on when your symptoms actually show up. So it's different for everybody, just like everyone else. Like everyone's PCOS type is different. Everyone's symptoms are different, and when people's symptoms show up, it shows up at different points in life. I do know that the older you get, the more severe your symptoms get, and the younger you are, the more undetected they may go. I mean, you do what you want with that information, but basically, is it possible that it could be passed down? It could be in the genetics, or it's hereditary? The answer is yes, it's possible. Your chances are increased slightly more. Like if you compare it to someone in a family, they got diagnosed, they have PCOS, but they're like the first ones. Their chances were less than your chances. Like let's say they had a 10% chance, and in your family, your aunt had it. Then that means that you may have a 20% chance of getting it. I'm making up numbers, but that's what I'm saying. So their chance of getting it is less than your chance of getting it because someone in your family may have it. But just because someone in your family has it does not mean that you necessarily have it. So I do know a few of my cousins have PCOS just like me, both from my mother's side and from my father's side. So I don't necessarily know if any of my aunts had it or anything like that. I know my mom does not have it, and she's never really heard of it until I got it. But I have cousins from both sides that have it. So I do wonder if maybe that was something that someone did have in our family, but they just never really got diagnosed. A lot of my aunts are a lot older now. My parents are in the 50s, the high 50 range, and my dad was the youngest, well, not the youngest, but one of the younger ones in his family. So most of my aunts are, I'm gonna say, at least 55 plus. So I do know, growing up, remembering some things. I do remember seeing some of my aunts have facial hair on their chins, which is also a symptom that I deal with. So I do wonder if they had certain symptoms, but they never got diagnosed, or they just never checked on it because everything else seemed fine. And facial hair is something that can be removed, and it's just annoyance. And you don't necessarily need to have PCOS to have facial hair. That's hirsutism, and that's just having extra androgens, and PCOS is a syndrome. So you have to have a group of symptoms to get diagnosed. But I wonder if maybe one of my aunts did have it, and it is something that does run in my family, and it would make sense to why, from my dad's side, me and my cousin Aisha, if you guys haven't watched, you should watch episode 1 of PCOS Table Talks. I'll link it in the cards right here, and I'll put it in the description below. Yeah, that's my cousin Aisha, she's from my dad's side, and her and I both have it. We have different symptoms, but I do wonder if it does run in our family specifically. I do know it's possible. The answer is yes, it's possible. The chances are higher because I have it. And I know that, in the future, if I have a daughter or even like my niece may have this, so it's good things to like learn about and be able to have these conversations because, if something arises, I would like to have them know what it is. So if they need help, they need to manage their symptoms, I am someone they can go to and they can educate themselves and learn about it. So, yeah, it's good to know. So then you can be educated, you can pass down the information to your family, and you can just keep an eye out. So, if it is something that can get passed down, you have knowledge and you can share the knowledge with your family. If it is your daughter or your niece or something like that. But it doesn't necessarily mean just because I have it that my niece will get it. So that's something good to know because it's a by chance kind of thing. And I have it and my sisters don't have it. So doesn't necessarily mean just because you have it, everyone in your family will have it. So yeah, but I thought this was a fun topic to talk about, open the discussion, think about, is it something that can get passed on or isn't? And it's kind of like a 50-50. Like the answer is yes and the answer is also no. Like, yes, you have the possibility of passing it down. It is something that can be genetic and it is a familiar condition, so it is a little bit of a hereditary thing. But just because it's yes to a few of those things doesn't mean that it's something that's going to automatically get passed down. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like it so I know that you liked it and I can make more like this, and comment below what you think. If you think someone in your family has it, if you think it's hereditary, if it's in the genetics, and leave me your comments and your thoughts down below and we can have a discussion. Yeah, bye, catch you guys next time.